On Sunday, the New Orleans Saints defeated the Dallas Cowboys 44-19, and they're off to a 2-0 start. And absolutely nobody predicted this. Some people may have predicted a surprising 2-0 start, but nobody expected the Saints to put up the amount of points they have and be winning by the amount that they have been. They've scored 91 points over the first two games, and that is the second most in NFL history since the NFL merger in 1966. And the only other team to score more points in that stretch was the 2009 Saints, who went on to win the Super Bowl. So the question begs, how in the fuck are the Saints good right now, or appear to be good? It's been 2 weeks. But how the fuck do the Saints appear to be good? There's many things we can go here. Obviously, I'm going to focus more on the offense today because I think most people kind of already knew the Saints defense would be good, if not elite. Because, I mean, they were pretty elite, or at least a top 10 unit last year. They took the ball away. They were a good defense last year. We all know this. But how is the Saints offense go out of nowhere? There's a multitude of things we can go from here, but obviously the main focus here is going to be Klint Kubiak and how he's completely revitalized his offense, right? Because last year, if you look at the Saints offense, the way it's constructed, you look at last year's team, or last year's offense compared to this year's offense, it's pretty much the same. It's almost a Derek Carr still the quarterback. The receivers are still the same, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. And the biggest problem with a lot of analysts and quote-unquote experts is that the Saints' offensive line did not appear to be good. They looked buns. You know, Trevor Penning was a huge concern coming into the season. Left guard was a huge uncertainty. And Fuaga, who a lot of people had high hopes for, is a rookie. So, you know, it was unfair to place such high expectations. But it's all come together extremely well. Klint Kubiak has completely revived the Saints offense. And the main thing to point to when it comes to this is the use of play action and motion. Because when you run an offense, it's very important to cater your offense towards the strength of your quarterback, right? And we can all agree Derek Carr is not an elite quarterback. He's probably like a mid-tier quarterback. But in my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of you guys will agree, under the right circumstances, you know, good coaching and the right system that benefits you to your strengths, he can be above average and can win you games. I'm not sure if he can win you a Super Bowl, but if you cater to his strengths, which is utilizing the middle of the field, utilizing tight ends, utilizing use of play action in the middle of the field like we went over before, then you can be good. Then you can be really, really good. And we're seeing that in the first two games of the season when Derek Carr has 6 total touchdowns, 5 passing touchdowns, and his quarterback rating is off the fucking charts. He's been near perfect besides that interception at the end of the game, which didn't really matter. And it was still a good decision. It was just a poorly thrown ball when the game was already over. Last season, with Pete Carmichael as the Saints offensive coordinator, the Saints ranked dead last in use of motion and play action. And for an offense, a West Coast offense that the Saints like to run and have run in the past with Drew Brees, that is very important. You would see the Saints, you would see route combinations running into each other. You would see the Saints in clutch situations refuse to use play action or the middle of the field. There was no motion at all. Any NFL viewer that watched at least a little bit of the Saints in the first two games could see that this offense is like a Shanahan 49ers, Green Bay Packers, Detroit Lions kind of offense with a lot of use of play action, lots of use of motion. And that's what keeps defenses on their heels. We've seen the Saints use a lot of 21 personnel, which is 2 backs and 2 receivers, with Adam Prentice as the second back in the game. And I'm not sure if there's been any team in the league the first 2 weeks that have used the fullback more than the Saints, which is surprising because, like teams like the 49ers, for example, have Kyle Juszczyk, who can do so many things, but it's not like we're using our fullback to catch the ball or anything. I mean, Taysom Hill has played some fullback and caught the ball out of the backfield, but it's not been that much. It's really just been in the run game. The Saints' run game has been incredible. Alvin Kamara has been almost revived in this new offense. He's actually getting outside zone runs. He's getting receptions out of the backfield. We saw him catch a 57-yard screen pass that went for a touchdown. Almost completely untouched. And a lot of credit here. I talked about Klint Kubiak a lot already, our new offensive coordinator. But our offensive line has been absolutely incredible. And it's really surprising how good they've been because, like I went over before, there was uncertainty at left guard. Trevor Penning had a really rough first 2 years in the league, and he did not look good in the preseason. But they've looked great the first 2 games. Fuaga has been absolutely fucking incredible. We saw Cesar Ruiz, our right guard, go stride for stride with Alvin Kamara on that screen pass for a touchdown I referred to earlier. He hit 17 miles per hour on that screen. That's insane. Like, he was fucking booking it. And Alvin Kamara, he had such a wide path to the end zone that he could literally just jog to the end zone. And Cesar Ruiz was fucking catching up to him. I mean, the run game has been absolutely incredible. We all knew Trevor Penning was a good run blocker, but he's kind of starting to putting it together. He's starting to put it together a little more in the pass game. There's not been one time so far this season where I watched the game and be like, what the fuck is Trevor Penning doing? I haven't said that because he's been good. The less you notice certain offensive linemen and pass protection is almost the better. Now, you notice him in the run game. I saw Trevor Penning pancake a couple dudes in the run game, which is insane. And this is a very good Cowboys front four they went up against with DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons, who's one of the best defensive players in the NFL, who's about to get an absolute bag this offseason. I mean, Micah Parsons said it himself. He didn't know what to do with the Saints. They were blocking him in ways that he would never seen before. He would see like a tight end chip him just for a running back to come out of nowhere and just block him, and he didn't expect to see him coming. I mean, it's an absolutely incredible scheme that they've been using, and the receivers have played fucking great as well. Chris Olave, it's crazy because you look at the numbers for these receivers, and they're not that crazy, but that's because they're not needed. The game, we have 30-plus points at halftime, and by then, no one's catching up. And I haven't talked about the defense as much today, and this is mostly going to be an offensive video, but the defense is doing just enough to win. Like, for example, against the Cowboys, early on in the game, in the first, second, and a little bit of the third quarter, they were getting yards. They were moving the ball, but the Saints have a kind of a bend, don't break defense, and they would hold the Cowboys to field goals while the Saints were just scoring easy touchdowns. So I believe the Cowboys kicked 3 or 4 field goals in the game, and they just couldn't keep up with the Saints offense. The defense, is opportunistic against a lot of takeaways. It had 2 interceptions against Dak Prescott. It had 3 total takeaways against the Panthers, so that's 5 takeaways in the first 2 games of the season. The special teams has been good. Blake Gruby has not missed a field goal. He didn't miss an extra point, but, whatever. And the crazy thing is we don't even know if our punter's good or not because we've punted like once. Our starting offense, I don't think has punted. I think they might have punted once at the end of the Cowboys game in the fourth quarter, but like before that, the Saints starting offense with Derek Carr and the first unit on the field scored on 15 consecutive drives. And against the Cowboys, the first 6 drives of the game were all touchdowns. That's fucking absurd. No one saw this coming, and the Saints have to be one of the best stories in the NFL right now because, including myself, I'm not going to lie, guys. This was probably the lowest I've been on the Saints going into a season. I knew Clint Kubiak would make the offense better. I did not expect this, and I can only hope that this continues because I love nothing more than seeing one of my favorite players I've ever watched in my lifetime watching football, Alvin Kamara, actually have an offense that utilizes his strengths. I'm not a huge Derek Carr guy, but I've always believed the fact that he could be good with the right coaching, and Clint Kubiak, he's something else. If he keeps this up, he's going to be a head coach next year. We would be lucky to keep him at this point if he continues the way he's going. We're not going to score 40-plus points every game, but I'm just saying if we continue to move the ball and score points and win games, because, we haven't even seen what the Saints could do in, a shootout or, a close game situation. We haven't seen it yet because we've only blown teams out. The Saints' schedule does not get super easy, however. It is looking like the NFC South is going to be a bit tougher than we thought because the Falcons had a pretty thrilling comeback against the Eagles on Monday night, and the Bucs have kind of a free win, it seems, against the Broncos. So the Bucs could be 3-0 right with us, and we have the Eagles coming up. We go at Atlanta week 4. We got the fucking Chiefs on Monday Night Football, and then we're at home for Tampa Bay in week 6, which is all of a sudden looking like a massive game. But if the Saints can keep up this great play of football, holding teams to field goals in the red zone, scoring touchdowns when they get in the red zone, consistent motion, play action, dynamic offense that utilizes Derek Carr's strengths very well, which I'm almost positive is going to continue. The sky's the limit for this team, and this may be the most unexpectedly good Saints team I've seen. I did not think it would work out this well. But if you do it against the Cowboys, who I believe are a playoff team, and they are still a good quality, they won 16 straight regular season games at home. And we didn't just beat them. We blew the fuck out of them. So if they keep this up, I really do think the sky's the limit. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the Eagles game goes. I'm not really sure where to go on this prediction yet because when I upload this, it's probably going to be Wednesday. So there's still a lot to uncover. See how the injury report looks. But it's hard not to feel pretty good going against the Eagles because if you look at that Monday night game, the Eagles did look very susceptible to the run, and we know that secondary is not the greatest, and we all fucking want some revenge against C.J. Gardner-Johnson for all the shit that he talked about us after he left. So this is very thrilling. I'm having a great time with this season so far. I hope you guys are as well. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys next time.